Ever notice how in conversations, there's often one person who barely speaks, yet somehow feels like the most present one in the room? They nod, they listen, they ask one quiet question, and later you realize something strange. You did all the talking, and they did all the understanding. Maybe that person is someone you know, or maybe, uncomfortably, it's you. People who listen more than they speak are often misunderstood. They get labeled shy, passive, or disengaged, but the psychology underneath is much more layered and often intentional. Let's start with the quiet observer. This person listens because they're always reading the room. They notice tone shift, body language, and what's not being said. Speaking interrupts that process. Listening gives them information. Psychologically, this comes from high social awareness. Their mind is tracking patterns, power dynamics, and emotional undercurrents. They don't rush to talk because they're still assembling the full picture. If this is you, you might feel like you understand people quickly, even when they barely know you at all. Then there's the self-protector. This person listens because speaking feels like exposure. Once words are out, they can be judged, misunderstood, or remembered. Silence feels safer, controlled. They often become the one people open up to, the listener, the confidant. But when attention turns toward them, they deflect or minimize their own experience. Not because they lack depth, but because they have too much of it to give away carelessly. If this resonates, you may notice you choose your words carefully or replay conversations later, wondering if you shared too much. Another type is the harmonizer. They listen because they're sensitive to emotional tension. They sense conflict early and instinctively avoid adding fuel to it. Speaking feels like it could disturb the balance, so they wait. They absorb. They keep things calm. Over time, though, this can lead to feeling unseen, valued for being easy to talk to, but rarely truly understood. Then there's the selective speaker. These people are quiet not from insecurity, but from discernment. Small talk drains them. Loud opinions without reflection don't interest them. They listen for meaning. When they speak, it's often brief, precise, and unexpected. The risk here is being underestimated. Silence often gets mistaken for emptiness, when in reality, it's depth being held back. And finally, there's the learned listener, someone who grew up in environments where speaking wasn't encouraged or felt unsafe. Over time, listening became a survival skill, one that stayed long after the environment changed. These people often develop strong intuition and empathy, but struggle to assert themselves, even when they have something important to say. So listening more than speaking isn't a flaw. It's often intelligence, sensitivity, or adaptation. But silence stops being healthy when it's no longer a choice. So ask yourself, do you listen because you want to, or because you've learned to? If this video felt familiar, take a moment to like it and subscribe. It helps this channel grow and keeps these quiet, thoughtful explorations going. And if you feel like sharing, leave a comment, not because you have to speak, but because this might be one moment where you choose to.